Hey guys, it's Alina here, and today I have another first impressions video for you. Today's video is on the brand new Urban Decay Urban Spectrum eyeshadow palette. So before we get started, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you love first impressions videos and you want me to do more of them, because I'd be happy to do that. And let's go ahead and get started. So around this time of year, Urban Decay tends to release their latest Vice palette. So they did do that. They released their Vice 4 palette, but they also announced that they were going to be releasing this palette as well. Everyone was reporting that this palette was going to be exclusive to Urban Decay's website and that it wasn't going to be released until October 20th. Well, surprise to everybody, it was put up on the Sephora website, showed up there, and this was actually one of the first holiday palettes to be released. So this palette is limited edition, and for right now it's only available at Sephora, but I'm assuming it will be released on the Urban Decay website starting October 20th. It's $55, so it is cheaper than the Vice palette, and it's arranged a little differently. It's a set of 15 eyeshadows, and the reason why it is called the Spectrum palette is because they're arranged in like an ombre. So, from lightest to darkest in, kind of a rainbow way of doing it. So what makes this palette so special is not just that it has 5 brand new shades, but that it brings back other shades that were loved and lost from previous Vice palettes and the Book of Shadows, etc. But what's nice is that each shade is infused with their pigment infusion system, so they're going to be a lot more vibrant than they potentially were back then. So the box looks like this, and it kind of gives you an idea of what to expect with the, rainbowness of it. It's very cute. I really thought the size was going to be comparable to kind of the Kat Von D palette just from looking at the pictures, but I actually like that it's a little more compact. It's just more usable. I know we tend to like these big palettes because it seems like we're getting a lot of value for it, but I guarantee that most of us have not ever really hit pan on most palettes because we just have way too many of them. So I don't mind that. So the palette itself is actually a lot more stunning in real life than it was, in my opinion, in the pictures that I saw online. So this is what the outside looks like. It's got this really pretty jeweled UD symbol, and the sides of it are laser cut filigree edges. So it's a really pretty pattern, and it just gives it like a level of sophistication and very classy, unlike a lot of the palettes that tend to come out. Not that they're not classy, but this just makes it look a little fancier, especially if you're going to give it for a gift. It just looks like you spent way more money on this than some of the other palettes that are coming out. So the other thing that I found interesting is that it's not a typical open it up kind of palette. It is actually a box. The lid actually detaches, and then inside you have your mirror. So the way the mirror is shaped, it will stand up on its own, so that's great for when you're using it and you don't have a mirror. And then here are all the shades. Mix and match eyeshadow colors with the Urban Spectrum eyeshadow palette, featuring an array of 15 shades from Urban Decay's iconic eyeshadow. It features best-selling and never-before-seen hues with a gorgeous ombre rainbow of greens, blues, purples, pinks, and neutrals. This limited edition palette is the perfect gift for the beauty guru. This palette has 5 just-released shades, 4 top-selling shades from their current collection, and 6 returning favorites from past palettes, including the original Book of Shadows, the Vice palette, and Vice 2. Each shade is infused with the pigment infusion system. Urban Decay's proprietary blend of ingredients gives each color its velvety texture, rich color, and serious staying power and blendability. What I really liked is not only is this an awesome palette, but once you actually get through all the shades and you hit pan, you can pop this out and use this as a really beautiful jewelry box. So it's not one and done and you just toss it or just keep like a empty palette just because it looks pretty. It's gonna actually be functional, which I really enjoy, and I think it's pretty, and I think people would actually use this. Initially, I wasn't sure that I was gonna get this palette, not because it didn't catch my attention, but because, really my focus was on getting that Vice 4 palette, because the Vice palettes are what I love. But when I saw the colors that were in here, I was really excited, and I knew that I had to get this palette. Mainly for one particular shade, Voodoo. So the reason why I wanted to get this palette because of the shade Voodoo is because the Vice 2 palette was my first high-end palette, and I love that palette. I use it all the time, and just the other day, before I even realized that this was coming about, I was using my usual favorites, and Voodoo happens to be one of my favorite colors, and I've been using it a lot, and I'm just like, what am I gonna do when this runs out? Because it's a limited edition shade. So when I saw that Voodoo was included in this palette, I was like, it's a sign, I must get it. What I do like from this palette that is different than the Vice palettes is that because it's a spectrum, it's going to be a lot easier for people to use than the Vice palette. I've heard a lot of people talk about the different Vice palettes and how the colors don't seem to make sense to them or they can't make looks out of it. But, you know, having things in a ombre, you know, kind of range, it really makes it easy to figure out which colors are going to go nice together, which ones are the lights, the darks, the middle colors, all that. Plus it includes neutral shades that would be really useful for just about every color in here. I know you guys are just dying to see the colors, so let's get to swatching. Alright, so I am all swatched up, so let me get closer and show you all these colors. Alright, so here are all the colors together, and I separated them into the rows of 3. So here we have the first row. The first color here is called Protest, and it's a golden forest green shimmer. The second color is called Junkie, and it's a green teal shimmer. The third color is called Deep End, and it's a bright teal shimmer. So once again, this is the first row. Here we have the second row. The first color here is called Madness. It's a bright metallic blue shimmer with micro glitter. The second color is called Evidence. It's a deep navy blue shimmer. And the third color is called Prank, a deep navy matte with turquoise pearl. So once again, this is the second row. Here we have the third row. This first color here is Omen. It's a bright metallic purple with blue shift. The second color is called Flashback. It's a bright deep purple with pink sparkle. And the third color is Voodoo, my beloved color, and it's metallic purple shimmer with micro glitter. So once again, this is the third row. Here we have the fourth row. This first color here is called Flatline, which is a metallic pale pink. The second color here is called Bordello. It's a pale mauve shimmer with micro glitter. And the third color here is called Backlash. It's a bright pink with orange pearl. So once again, this is the fourth row. So lastly, we have the fifth row, and this is the row of neutrals. The first color here is called Daybreak, and it's a soft bronze with silver glitter. The second color here is called Burn, and it's a medium brown with gold micro glitter. And the third color here is West, and it's a medium golden brown shimmer. So that once again, this is the fifth row. I'll show you all the colors again together. So it's a nice range of color. These were all swatched with one swipe of color, and there is no primer on my arm right now, so they are super, super pigmented, and pretty much every color was awesome. The only colors that were kind of misses, in my opinion, were from that second row, and those are Evidence and Prank. They just weren't really that pigmented compared to what they were in the pan. I'm really, really in love with this first row. I don't wear a lot of green, but this row is going to make me wear a lot more green. And I actually really love the color Omen. It doesn't really seem like it's that dark, but I feel like it's going to be nice to layer onto stuff. Alright, so my final thoughts on this palette is that it's amazing. You guys know I'm a sucker for really, really bright, vibrant colors, so this is kind of a no-brainer for me. I haven't yet swatched the Vice 4 palette, so I don't know if you should get this one instead of the Vice 4, but this palette is really, really nice. And I do love that this turns into a box. I do love how fancy this is. I think if you're going to give a gift to somebody, this might be a better option. It is a little cheaper. It's $55 instead of $60, but this just looks a little fancier, and I think that for a gift, I think this is a better option. I do like the way the colors are arranged. I just think that this is a really nice palette, and personally, even if all the other colors were dud, just to get another pan of Voodoo, it's totally worth it to me. So once again, you can pick up this palette right now on the Sephora website for $55. I'll leave a link down below. It will be available on the Urban Decay website soon. The original date was October 20th, but I don't know if they're going to decide to release it sooner. It is limited edition, so if you are interested in it, make sure you pick it up. I want to know your thoughts on this palette. Did you love it? Did you get it? Leave me a comment because I would love to know. So I hope you guys enjoyed this first impressions. Be sure to give it a big thumbs up if you did, and don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other videos. Hope you guys have a good one. See ya!